Hello and welcome. My name is Steve Doyle. I have the privilege to lead the ThousandEyes commercial sales organisation across EMEA. We've heard some great content already today from many of our speakers, but we're going to change the dynamic a little bit, and we're going to have a conversation with one of ThousandEyes' most important customers in Europe. I'm delighted to say I'm joined today by Simon Challis. Simon, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let's start off with an introduction. So why don't you tell us about you, your role, and EasyJet?
Absolutely, yes. So my name is Simon Challis. My role is as the Senior Technology Manager for Platform Design. As for EasyJet, we're a European low-cost point-to-point airline, one of the largest in the world. We operate 308 aircraft across 34 countries and 156 different airports. As for myself, my role, I'm responsible for the platform design of our infrastructure services. That is, we operate our platform as a product. So anything that's infrastructure, networks, or observability comes under my scope.
Fantastic, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So talk to me, Simon, about the importance that application plays for an organisation like EasyJet.
So on one side, we're a extremely busy e-commerce. At our peak loads, we can fill up 4 A320 Airbus aircraft every minute. However, that's only part of the story. On top of selling the seats, we actually need to operate the flight. So for us, the resilience of the airline and our network is absolutely critical to make sure we're flying all of our customers on time where they need to be.
Applications clearly sit at the core of your business. Talk to us about strategy, specifically the strategies that you're using in order to make the most of cloud native services.
Yeah, absolutely. It's clear we've needed to evolve how we look at our infrastructure and operate our systems. So we've adopted a 3-point mantra now. The first one is that our office is anywhere. Our workforce needs to be able to work from absolutely anywhere, be it from a base, be it from home, or an airport they don't normally fly to. Second point to that mantra is going to be that the internet is our network. We're not looking to have physical assets that we own or networks that we provision. As much as possible, we want to be using or leveraging the public internet over direct internet access.
Makes sense.
And thirdly is that our data center is the cloud. We're looking over the next 2 years to be moving away from AWS, moving away from our public data center and into AWS.
Makes a great deal of sense, and it's a very progressive mantra to have, I think. The office really truly is anywhere. The internet has become the backbone of almost every network on the planet, and increasingly every organisation is leveraging cloud. It makes an awful lot of sense.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the challenges that come along with that. So increasingly using cloud-based services. What are the challenges that you're facing around visibility when it comes to using these cloud-native services?
It's clear that because we're trying to move away from owning less assets, that we're much more reliant on services. So as we're leveraging software as a service, we don't own as much assets to monitor. So our traditional observability stack just isn't enough. What we want to be able to do is make sure that the services we're being provided are meeting the SLAs that we're being given.
So let's talk about some of those challenges a little bit more precisely. So what were the challenges that you faced when migrating applications into cloud or migrating into SaaS applications?
Yeah, so two big things we've had going on. Firstly is that we are moving from traditional MPLS to an SD-WAN. The other thing we're trying to do is move a lot of our services into the public cloud. Now, as we're doing that, we're reliant on either direct internet access or AWS's own fabric. These are services that we don't own and don't have any real visibility over. So actually trying to get some visibility into how our applications are routing and how they're performing and the quality of those connections is absolutely key to us and something we have failed to get up until now.
Which areas do you believe that ThousandEyes has helped to improve visibility for EasyJet?
So clearly there are plenty of products out on the market that give that outside in view of your application. Where we found ThousandEyes particularly interesting is that inside out view. So using the enterprise agents and the endpoint agents to be able to actually see the full holistic view of how our applications are performing for our customers and for our people inside.
So where have you seen the most amount of value from the relationship?
So with our response to our instance, we've been able to reduce our mean time to respond. On a number of instances we've actually reduced it by going to ThousandEyes in the first instance to actually find out where those faults lie. Equally, the number of incidents we've been able to reduce by some early identification of trouble that we're seeing. And the really interesting metric we've had is our mean time to innocence. So this really was the fact our systems are not ours, we're consuming services. And when we realise that the fault lies outside of our network and is through a supplier that we're utilising, we realise that we can speak to them with our instant management, but actually step back our engineers so they're not having to be involved in the troubleshooting. They can then start work on delivering and continue to improve our services or deliver new services for our customers.
Fantastic. Let's talk about some lessons learned. Were there any surprises, positive or negative, that came about as part of this migration? We talked already about being able to reutilise some of your people. What are the kind of things that you've learned from the process?
So it's actually where and what we can use ThousandEyes for. So with our transformation that we're going towards AWS, we're looking to move many of our legacy and closely coupled applications. Now, in order to do that, we want to check that the latency of the connections between anything that remains within the data center and anything that moves through AWS is as short as possible. Okay. Now, the reason we do that is we want to try and minimize the size of the move group as much as possible. And by move group, I mean those apps that are closely coupled, how big that stack is that you take, rather than a big bang approach.
Sure.
So with the POC we're looking at the minute is to take a application and move it to AWS that we know has got a tight coupling that we want to try and de-link where we can. So using ThousandEyes for us to be able to check the quality and the speed of that link helps feed that proof of concept for us.
So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's look forward, and when we look into the future, what are the priorities for you in the coming year?
So there's two real things that have been introduced that are quite exciting for me. Firstly is how ThousandEyes have started to introduce the enterprise agent into SD-WAN devices. So for me, being able to run less physical infrastructure on tin within our bases, our airports and our locations is even better. Including that agent on the device natively, fantastic. The second point for me is really about a single pane of glass. For me, tools work best when they integrate ideally natively or at least using open standards. To provide that complete view of an application from one place is saving our engineers from having to jump from tool to tool to actually try and identify where problems lie. The fact that we can see it all in one place gives us a real focus on actually trying to find the faults up front.
Fantastic advice. My sincere thanks to you for your time today. The audience greatly appreciate hearing from a customer. My sincere thanks for the partnership, and we look forward to strengthening that over the coming days, weeks, months and years.
And thank you for all the support over the years.
Thank you.